Here we have an assembly of a Variance PWS Mark 1 Mod 2. This happens to be the Stockpile Defense Variance. So for this one, we're going to start with the mag catch first. We'll install the ambidextrous portion first. Just happen to use a dogged set screw, which helps for easy assembly. Alright, so I was interrupted there. I think the most annoying part about installing this would be that if you're using Allen, you got to reset every half turn. But aside from that, it's a heck of a lot better than having to drive in a roll pin. Which we'll get to that when we install the bolt catch. I'll get that in there just until it's a little snug and can still move around. Now we'll install the actual mag catch, and we'll put a little bit of a lubricant down in there. Spring and the button. Just keep pressure on it, give her about a full revolution before I let go. I have a little Delrin rod that I use to get that all lined up. Push in the mag button and then rotate on this side. Let's see, one more revolution. Alright, there's still a little bit of countersunk on that button there. It sticks out nicely. Terrible contrast. Alright. Anywho. Now we'll install the actual magazine catch. So for the Mod 2, since it has an ambidextrous portion on this side, they have their own special pin. A detent, if you will. Uses the same standard spring. Now we're going to get the little spring roll pin. I'm going to get that started in there before we put that on, just to make things a little bit easier. That might get hard for you to see here, but all I'm doing is just getting that pin started until it's about flush with the inside. I don't know if you can see that there. Kinda. Yeah. And now we'll place our bolt catch on there. Get her in most of the way and set it with a roll pin punch. Still a little proud. There we go. marking on there. Slightly flush, or slightly countersunk on each side, that is. So that'd be a good look to her. Now, we get to the ambidextrous bolt release portion. Now, remember how that detent was extra long? You see that shiny spot right there? That is that extra long detent. That pushes up against this portion right here. And when your bolt is locked open, you can push that in to release it. Now I splayed open the end of this spring a little bit. It's just a standard bolt catch spring. But I splayed it out a little bit so that it gets stuck in there. Just makes for an easier installation. Doesn't want to fall out on you. So let me get the other dog to screw. So you can see it's just a set screw with a smooth shank. And the other one already had a little bit of blue Loctite on there. This one, put some fresh blue Loctite on it. Get it started and screw it in. Get her snug. Then clean up any excess blue Loctite. There we go. Now that we have that installed, we'll get to installing our pivot pin. So there's pivot pin, spring, and detent right there. I use a little carriage pin, basically just a 1/4 inch pin with holes drilled in it. So makes it for an easier installation. Set our spring in first, and then set our detent in next. And then we'll take this little Allen here, push it in, and rotate 90 degrees. So now, if you'll focus on there. Okay, so now we have a captivated spring and detent. So I'm going to have a firm grip on the actual pivot pin. Push up against here, keep pressure on the carriage pin, and slide it in. Make sure you lock into that channel, otherwise it'll just fly out when you go to pull it. So now we can get to installing our trigger assembly. This one happens to be a 2-stage Aru. So this one I don't have to worry about any of the disconnect come flying out at me because it's pinned in there. Mil-spec one, you'd have to keep that from flying out, but I just line up that hole there. Once it's all lined up, slide the pin in, make sure it's flush. Now, for the hammer, I'm going to keep those legs on top of the trigger and line up the holes the same way. This one tends to be a little more tricky, but with enough practice, it's pretty easy. Make that so that pin's flush. Alright, so I'll keep the hammer cocked for now while I install our safety. So this one has a little grease in it right now. But that is a Radian you can either have it a short throw or a standard 90-degree throw. We're going to put it on the short throw, and since this person is a righty, if I remember right, put the long leg on the left side. Alright, we're just going to push down on that detent so that it stays in place. Slide it through our safety hole, and then I'm going to release the hammer so that the safety doesn't come falling out. So this receiver comes with a tensioning screw. This tensioning screw is spring loaded, very stiff spring, but that's just to help facilitate a tighter fit or eliminate rattling of the upper and lower receiver. Obviously, if you have too much space in between your upper and lower receiver, it's not going to make a difference and you'll have some issues. Put a little bit of blue Loctite on there and screw it in. And I like to screw this in till where you just barely see the detent there, or that little plastic nub popping up. And that's so I can still insert the takedown pin when we get to it. Now, let's install our grip. I'm going to grab the safety spring, put a little dab of grease on there, and insert it. Also get a little bit of grease on the tip of our detent for our safety and drop it in the hole. Now, we're going to slide our grip on and screw it in. This grip happens to come with a socket head screw, which is great. Don't have to worry about it, the screw sliding off of a flathead bit. And we'll just tighten that up. She's nice and snug. Test the safety. There we go. Okay. Now, for the purpose of the rest of the build here, we're going to keep our safety on and our hammer cocked. Next, we've got an A5 tube with a ratchet and castle nut and end plate. Now, I like to, what I end up doing here, I'll put this castle nut on first. Put a little dab of aeroshell, then slide the end plate over that, set it aside. And now we will, I'm going to slide in our takedown pin, our detent, put a little bit of oil down in there. And our spring. Grab a little more aeroshell, just put it on the inside of these threads here. start screwing the tube on. Now, gotta watch out for that spring there. If it keeps wanting to get hit, just take it out until we get the tube where we want it. Stop about a rotation away from our hole for the buffer retainer. And we'll screw that in until we line up. Now we can put our spring in. Rotate that back. Get that just lined up there. Push the end plate up against the receiver and start screwing down the castle nut. All right, so now I'll just finish tightening our castle nut here. And grab the torque wrench to get a final torque on it. So I'm going to set our torque wrench to 40 foot-pounds. Get our wrench all set up here. This is where things can get a little tricky. So instead of using this guy, we are going to use this. Make it loads easier. Hold on to the tube. Yeah, slip and slide around here. There we go. I've got that installed, lined properly. Looks to be about so. Put our buffer and spring in there. Just put a little bit of lubricant on that. There we go. Pop our little plug in there before I forget about it. Now let's put on the right side of the safety. There we go. Put our brace on. And it's done. So, aside from torquing on the castle nut, everything went pretty smoothly.